Hello everyone, here is a video on the metric system, and I wanted to take a moment and talk about the metric system before we get into metric conversions. So as far as the metric system goes, I've given you on this slide a kind of a breakdown of how the metric system looks. What you see in front of you is these funny words, mega, hecto, deci, milli. Those are all what are called metric prefixes, okay? The metric system is not used by us here in America all that much because we have prescribed to a different pattern called the English system. Okay, we do use some portions of the metric system, so it's worthy to talk about it, and it's also worthy to talk about it because we use it strictly, almost strictly, in chemistry. Okay, so if you take a look at these names right here, these stand for a certain amount of one. Okay, so if we take a look at deca, deca is 10 times 1. So here's our 1. Here's kind of our base area. Okay, now that's not our base unit, but that's our, we'll just think of that as our kind of, we'll lock ourselves in this spot right here. So deca is 10 times 1. Hecto is 100 of these things. Kilo is 1,000 of these things. And mega is 1,000,000 of, again, these things. Okay, so it's kind of easy to think of that. So anytime you have a kilometer, what is that? That's 1,000 meters. Okay, it's 1,000 of anything inside here. So that's not too bad to talk about getting bigger. Well, when we talk about getting smaller, it's a little bit more difficult. So again, if this is our root right here, it takes, so one of these decis is 1/10 of this. And centi is 1/100th of this. Milli is 1,000th of this. And micro is 1,000,000th, again, of this. So how many decis does it take to get a meter, liter, gram? It takes 10 of those. How many centis, let me erase while I go. How many centis does it take to get one of these? And it takes 100 of those. And how many millis does it take? Of course, you should be thinking it takes 1,000 from here to here. Oopsie, one more. 1,000 times. So if you look at this a little bit more closely and you digest this, the more we use it, you're going to see that the metric system is all based off of the number of 10. Okay? This is 10 times bigger. This is 10 times bigger. So as I move to the left, it keeps getting 10 times bigger. As a matter of fact, it doesn't matter where I'm at. Anytime I cross one of these thresholds, it's a factor of 10. And it gets 10 bigger this way and 1/10 smaller to the right. Okay? So 10 and, let me do it this way. So if I go this way, it gets 10 times bigger. If I go this way, it gets 10 times smaller, or 1/10 smaller. So everything is separated by a factor of 10. Okay, let's go a little bit further now. Doing some easy mental conversions. If I have, let's go, if I have 100, let's say, what if I have 10 grams? Okay, what if I have 10 grams? That's the thing I'll start with. If I have 10 grams, how many decigrams are in 10 grams? Okay, so I'm going to go this way. All right, well, that's 1/10 smaller, or in other words, it takes 10 times more things in a decigram to make up the 10 grams. So 10 times 10 gives me 100, well, let me see, 100 decigrams. Okay, notice the label changed. Okay, so, and again, if I was to go this way, now I'm getting bigger, so I'm going to divide by 10. Okay, so if I had 10 grams and I want to go to decagrams and land here around this 10, then I have to divide by 10, and it gives me 1 deca. I don't know if I said dec or deca, but it's 1 decagram. Okay, now I think what I just taught was a little confusing. Okay, so let me give you the easy version. If every block is separated by a factor of 10 across the thresholds, across the lines, they're all separated by a factor of 10, then what we can do is this, okay? If I'm going to go to centi over to 1, I have to jump 1, 2 blocks. That's 1, 2 zeros. That's a factor of 100. So it takes 100 of these to get to these. Okay, 100, just like I said before. Okay, let's see if that works. Now, let's try another one. If I want to go from here all the way to here, how many blocks do I jump? 1, 2, 3 blocks to the left. Okay, so that means I have 1, 2, 3 zeros. That's 1,000 millis in 1 meter, liter, or gram. Okay, so that could be 1,000 millimeters in a meter, 1,000 milliliters in 1 liter, or 1,000 milligrams in a gram. Okay, so that also makes sense when we go to different things. For example, if I'm going to go from milli to deci, that's a 1, 2 space jump. That's 1, 2 zeros. That's a factor of 100. So it takes 100 of these to make one of these. Okay. Now, it works the same when we get to the larger ones too. Nothing changes. As a matter of fact, there's only one little change, and I'm going to draw blue. This line and this line are a little dangerous, so we'll talk about that in just one second. But again, if I'm going to go from meters, let's say to meters to hectometers, that's a factor of 10, 100. 10, 100. Okay? Notice it's not 10 times 2, it's 10 times 10. So no matter where I go, it's 10 times 10 times 10 times 10 times 10, and so on and so forth. So you have to keep adding zeros. That's where the zeros come from. Okay? So next, let's take a look at let's pause for a moment. That's a little bit of a look into what the actual prefixes mean mathematically. Now, there's a way we can avoid all this. I call it a metric conversion shortcut. It's pretty handy. What if you had 190.15 grams, and I want to know how many centigrams that is? So if I have 190 grams and I'm trying to get to centigrams, check out how cool this is. I'm going to go one space to the right and another space to the right. 2 places to the right, 2 blocks to the right, 1, 2 blocks to the right. There's my new decimal point there. Your new answer is 9015, but not grams, centigrams, because that's where you landed, in the centigram spot. So notice 2 jumps to the right, 2 decimal points to the right. Let's do it again. What if and it works the other way too. So what if I have, 100.1 liters, and I want to get to kilometers, or kiloliters, excuse me. So I'm going to start here, 1, 2, 3 places to the left. Now let's go 1, 2, 3 places to the left. That's 0.1001 kiloliters, not liters anymore, but kiloliters. Okay, so like I said before, whenever you convert to the larger prefixes, your number gets smaller. 0.1001 is a much smaller number. As a matter of fact, 1,000 times smaller than 1,000.1. Okay, so that's how we use the metric conversion chart or shortcut or whatever you want to call it. Okay, if you have any questions, let me know.